What is up, everybody? I got something pretty cool to do a video on today. Let's see what it is. "1941 Case SC." I have quite the story on this tractor. When I was 9 years old, I was at a farm auction with my dad, and this had been sitting in a barn on this farm forever. I mean, the clutch was out of it, it didn't run, and I convinced my dad that I just had to have this thing. So we bought it. I helped him rebuild the motor, split it, put a clutch in it. My dad at that time used to have a business, a side business restoring tractors for people. He'd paint tractors all winter and, summertime whenever he wasn't farming. But we painted it. I have a bunch of pictures. I'll dig some of them out and show you guys. But I spent my childhood going to every tractor show with this, every parade, county fair, you name it. And then, when I got older and got married, and I put it in a shed, and it sat for years. And then I dug it out and was gonna get it running again because it hadn't run forever, and time flies. That was when my son Jack was 9 years old is when I dug this thing out and we started working on it, because when he was 9, I figured we'd restore this again since I got it when I was 9 years old. And that only seems like it was a couple of years ago that we started on this, but yeah, Jack's going to turn 19 here in a couple months. So 10 years ago, we pulled this thing out. The head gasket was leaking, so we took the head off, sent it to be checked and gone through, took the radiator at the same time, had it boiled and checked. The fuel tank was full of pretty much tar from old gas sitting in it, so we took the fuel tank to the radiator shop too, and they boiled that out and coated the inside of it. I had my tire dealer come put 4 brand new tires on it, and it really hit home with me on how long ago it was when I looked at this date code, 2015. And then, like everything else, back then I hadn't learned how to say no yet, and burning the candle at both ends, doing a ton of side jobs on top of farming, and this got pushed back in the corner of cold storage to be forgotten. And when I hooked onto the planter to get it out the other day, this tractor was sitting sideways against the wall behind the planter. So you really only see this thing once a year when the planter moves. And I said, you know what? I'm digging that thing back out. So I dug it out and brought it in here. I went and bought a new battery for it. When we were gearing up to restore it again, I dug through all the boxes to see what all I had bought. I've got all new gauges, a new steering wheel, starter button. This is a new emblem for the front. New seat cover. I don't know if we're going to paint this thing right now, but I would really like to have it at least put back together in running. I can't ever get rid of this tractor. I've owned it for 36 years now. So I would love to do I'm sure a lot of my viewers know who Sasquatch 253, I think, is his channel. I'd love to do a restoration like that on this, but man, I take a lot of time. But no matter what, it needs some work on the brakes. I don't want to paint it until any mechanical stuff is fixed. So today we're going to try to get this thing to run. The carburetor, I had a carb kit too, so I've had the carb soaking in let's just go back here. I've had it soaking in carb cleaner for a couple days now, and I just took it out. Got all my new parts. I'm gonna put this back together. We'll slam it on, put some gas in the tank, hook up the battery, and see if we can get her to fire. All right, I got the carb all put back together. This fuel line it's not the way it's supposed to be, obviously, but we'll set the fuel tank back on there. I started hooking this starter switch up, but I'll set you guys up here on the tripod, and we should probably check the oil. I know I changed it whenever we put the head back on, but obviously that was 10 years ago. And it still looks like new oil. I'm guessing it's got some condensation in it though. I was looking, this is a new distributor cap. I had put new wires, the points, the condenser are new, spark plugs are new. This is a 1941, and what's I guess special about this one is the muffler, or the exhaust, comes out the center of the hood. And I've gone to a million shows over the years with this, and I've never seen another one like it. They all come out this way. And I have had several case collectors tell me that they were only that way in 1941, where the center of the hood had the muffler and the air cleaner, and it had like factory chrome. The hood isn't sitting here, but like factory chrome strips on the side of the hood. I've never seen another one like that before, so that's kind of cool. I'll set you up. All right. So I've heard this style of SC case, the very early ones with the exhaust in the center of the hood, I have heard them referred to as, I think, centerline SCs. There was different fenders on the early ones. This one has the big clamshell fenders. Like I said, I've been to a million antique tractor shows in my life, and I have never come across another one of these just like that, the way this one is. I also own an S case, the standard version, wide front. It is in one of my sheds at a farm that I rent, and that tractor has not run in over 20 years. Someday. We used to have about every flavor of antique tractor there is in my family when I was a kid. 2-cylinder John Deeres, Farmalls, this. My grandpa always collected Massey Harris tractors. My cousin has a pile of Massey Harris tractors now, and my grandpa, I think he still has one or two Masseys and a B John Deere and a D John Deere. I'm not sure what my dad still has laying around. I think he has a Super M. Maybe someday I'll do a video and we'll go take a tour through all the barns and sheds and see what antique tractors are left in my family still. At one point, I know we had well over 20 antique tractors. I had a 36 John Deere unstyled B. I sold that, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago. Hand crank start. I would like my grandpa's D. I mean, I need it like a freaking hole in my head, but I kind of would like to resurrect that thing. It hasn't moved in a long time. No, my dad had the painting side business, so we collected antique tractors ourselves, and then he'd paint them all up nice, and then we'd take them to like all the steam power shows and whatnot, and he'd put signage on them to advertise for his tractor restoration business. That's how I learned how to paint a very, very long time ago. Grew up sanding and priming. I mean, I got most of the grunt work when I was young, power washing, wire wheeling the frames, and then once I got into junior high, early into high school, my dad quit doing paint jobs, and people started asking me if I would paint stuff for them. So in high school, I painted a lot of random tractors and stuff for people to make money. Then I went on to do it for quite a few years till I gave that up. All right, negative cable is hooked, and the ground cable's attached. Positive cable. Let's throw the battery in there. This tractor has not run, like I said, for a long time. Even 10 years ago when me and my son started working on it, while we were waiting for the head to come back and the radiator and everything, that's when we started stripping all the tin work and all the wiring and everything off of it. So even after I got the head back and put it on, we never tried firing this thing. I was getting it all set up to get sandblasted. That's why everything's taped off, but this 10-year-old duct tape, it's just like dust. So if she fires off today, it will be the first time in God knows how long. I'm not putting the radiator in or the generator back on or any of that. We're just gonna see if she has anything to say, and then we'll go from there. Battery is installed. Wow. Duct tape kind of becomes one with whatever you have it on after a decade. The way we ended up with the S case, I'll never forget that. I had this at a tractor show, and a guy walked up to me and my dad. I don't know, I was still in grade school, probably. And he asked if we had an interest in buying an S case that was sitting out in the woods behind his dad's farmstead. And we'd never seen an S before, so we got the guy's phone number and researched it a little and decided that we'd buy it. And it was in Gurnee, Illinois, in by Chicago. But so the guy gave us the address and said that his dad had dementia or whatever, and just get in there and drag it out, and don't worry about it if he comes out and acts crazy. Well, my dad paid him for the tractor. We get there in this old farmyard, and there's this S sitting sunk into the dirt out in the tree line, and there was an SC with a factory wide front. I wanted that, but we only had room on the trailer for one tractor, and my dad unhooks the pickup from the trailer so we could go drag the tractor out of the woods with the truck. And I'm on the tractor, and Dad's pulling me back to this farmyard, and we get back to where the trailer is, and this old man is madder than hell at us, and pretty much threatening our lives. And my dad told him, hey, we paid for it from, your son, blah, blah, blah. It was a bad deal, but I'm sitting there, and this guy's getting mad at my dad And I'm thinking to myself, how are we going to get this thing on the trailer? Because the truck isn't hooked to the trailer. Well, the guy storms off, says he's going in to call the law. And Dad goes, just steer it and hang on. And I'm like, what? And he takes off with the truck. And I steer it on the ramps of the trailer. And the trailer is hooked to nothing. So the front of the trailer like goes straight up in the air. And he just floorboards the truck and pulls me up enough for the trailer to crash back down. And he didn't chain it down or nothing. He hooked up to that trailer. And we peeled out of that driveway and got down the road a little ways and chained it down. I thought we were going to get shot. But then that tractor, we rebuilt the motor, got the head rebuilt, got it running, and that was about the time that my dad decided he didn't want to deal with antique tractors anymore, and it got parked out behind his shed. What did I do with that half-inch wrench? It got parked out back and sat there for years and years. It never got painted. It needs a bunch of tin work fixed on it. And one day he just said, if you want that ass, come get it out of the damn yard. So that was a long time ago, too. I went and got it, and I went and jammed it in one of my buildings, and it's where it still sits. Oh, we're close now. I gotta hook this fuel line up. Yeah, I have a whole lot of childhood memories of restoring antique tractors and going to tractor shows. I enjoyed it. I learned an awful lot. And my uncle, I think he has a W6 International and a W9, I believe. There's a whole bunch of them in our family. Any more to me, less is more. If you followed my channel, I've tried to declutter my life and try to get rid of everything that we don't need. And it's hard because at the same time, I love antique tractors and trucks and everything else. So Mrs. G keeps a pretty tight eye on me whenever I start talking about something I saw that I want to buy. I'd really like to restore like a 70s Ford pickup truck. I had a 1971 F-250 that only had 3,000 original miles on it. I bought it from one of our local fire departments when they sold it. And then I ended up selling it. But I would love to restore an old Ford truck like that again. Too many projects as it is, though. I think my dad has an A John Deere, a styled A still, too. I don't know. He might have given that to one of my sisters. I haven't been through my dad's shed in a long time. I'm not sure what all he's got still. Oh, I did put the hand crank in there to make sure it's not stuck. It turned over fine. Should we see if the starter will crank? It does. All right. All I'm going to do is get a jumper wire from the positive over to the coil and grab a gas can and put some gas in it. I just hooked the oil pressure gauge back up to the line there. Be a miracle if this sediment bowl doesn't leak. It looks obviously I put a new one on there, but figured that gasket would be dried out. Not leaking yet. All right, we got gas, jumper wire from the positive to the coil. And go grab a spark checker. See if we got spark. Yes, we do. Well, is it going to run? Let's find out. Holy cow. Oh, yeah, baby. turn this mic off here. All right. Well, she fires. The carb is, just kind of halfway adjusted here, so let's see. Make sure I got oil pressure. Too far. Got to hold on to the fuel tank so it doesn't fall off. That is amazing. Unbelievable. That makes my day. Coolant in her, so I don't want to run it too long. Burning all the dust off of it. I knew this thing would run. I knew it. Sounds good. I mean, I got to play with the carb a little bit, but it's not leaking gas out. I must have done something right there. It's got 30 pounds of engine oil pressure. Cool, huh? Well, what should we do with it next? These have a crazy drive system in them. It's big chains that go back and drive the can't even talk, the rear wheels, but I've never taken the back cover off and looked at the adjustment. If they're loose, I'm sure they are. I don't really want to put it all the way back together again just to tear it all back apart, but at the same time I don't really have time right now to get into this right before spring. I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? Put it back together or just put it on the list of things that need to be dealt with. Thanks for watching, guys. I think I'll leave this one here. Have a good one.